Do you have the Mercedes Me app? Well, if you do, did you know that on some cars you can put your heating on? On some cars you can also park using your phone, James Bond style, and then also on some cars you can also receive a notification if someone does the unthinkable. So in this video today, I've got 10 tips and tricks on the Mercedes Me app and the Mercedes Me services surrounding it. So if you're not sure what Mercedes Me is, I'll oversimplify it for this video. However, be sure to check out my Mercedes Me guide on the pop-up banner up above. But oversimplification purposes, Mercedes Me in a nutshell kind of runs live traffic, map updates, and then also use of the Mercedes Me app on most modern Mercedes-Benz, although that can vary. And as usual, if you're not sure, get in touch with your local Mercedes dealership and they can let you know exactly what yours can do. So first and foremost, at number 1, make sure your notifications are on your phone for the Mercedes Me app. As long as you've got the remote package. Did you know that, of course, on most Mercedes, you can get a notification if something's not quite right. So this could be your windscreen washer's low, the tyre pressure's low, or even if it's due a service. Basically, load up the Mercedes Me app, tap on the menu button on the top left-hand corner, go to settings, and then just make sure notifications are on. Of course, if you have an iPhone, make sure they are enabled in settings and notifications and then Mercedes Me. And then there's a very similar place for Androids as well. Just make sure they're enabled globally on the actual phone's operating system. And on top of all of that, it can even notify you if you've, come to a stop and parked up somewhere and then left it unlocked by accident. So look what happens here. If I leave the car unlocked and just walk off. Yep, there we go. Just had a notification come through. Your car is unlocked. Would you like to lock it? So this is one of the notifications you can get coming through on Mercedes Me. But then for number 2, you can actually lock and unlock it from your phone without the key. Now, yes, you do need the key to actually start it, but just in case you've forgotten to lock it, you can get it locked back up. So if I send that through, literally about a second later. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer depending on network coverage and that sort of thing, but that only took a second. So yeah, I can see the road mirrors have just folded in. So that's number 2. What about number 3? Now, just coming back to this car one more time before I move on to something else, did you know that on some cars you can actually get the windows to open and close from the app? Now, this is especially useful, especially the UK just had like a heat wave, so all the cars that everyone gets in are obviously quite hot. So on this, you can kind of open up the windows and expel the heat before you get to it. So you just swipe it open, seconds later, all the windows go down. Now on top of this as well, if you look really closely at the actual app, basically here you'll see it says rain sensor monitoring active. So if any water lands on the rain sensor at the top, even if you have a sunroof and you've got that open as well, it can actually close all of it just to stop any damage on the inside. And I have covered that before in one of the tips and tricks videos, so if you want to see that video, I'll pop a link up above. But while we're on the topic of Mercedes Me, what about the next one? Now up next, if you have a plug-in hybrid or an electric car, you're in luck. You'll have an extra feature, and this is called pre-entry climate control. And quite simply, instead of putting the windows down, you can either preheat or pre-cool the interior as well. So if I go onto the Mercedes Me app, here's this car, tap on the relevant icon, go in here, and you can even set times for when you leave in the morning for work maybe, and get the car all nice and warm or cool before you leave. So here you can set the temperature for the driver and passenger. And if I go back, I can switch that on. And then in a moment, we will see on the screen in here, the climate control will then come on and get the interior nice and warm or cool, ready for when you leave. Now, all these features are well and good, but what about if you want to share kind of all these things with others, for example? Well, you can on Mercedes Me, although I will just add there's a couple of ways of doing it. So number one, you could just share the same email address and or mobile phone number, whatever you've used to sign up with. So say for example here, you can just sign in with the same email, then you have the car there. Now I will add, you can also do a thing called co-users, and those are best used if you have multiple Mercedes, multiple drivers, multiple owners, that sort of thing. You want to share your cars with each other. So to do that on the app, all you do is tap the menu button, then find the car, and then tap on manage users, and then here you can follow the step-by-step process on how to get it linked up. If you have a modern hybrid or an electric car from Mercedes, be sure to check out Mercedes Me Charge. The slight drawback with charging cars in the UK is that you need different apps for different charge points, but what this does is kind of consolidate them under one roof, and it even highlights charge points on your route when navigating. And the symbols look a bit like this. Now, as Mercedes Me Charge is a big topic in itself, I won't cover that here on this video, but be sure to check out the dedicated Mercedes Me Charge video that I have on my YouTube channel. Now this next one is technically part of Mercedes Me, but this is by far the coolest feature ever. Now sadly this is only on a couple of Mercedes models out there, but basically you can turn it on, you can drive it forwards and backwards without anyone in the driving seat. As I mentioned, it is only on a couple of selected models out there, but it kind of gives you a glimpse of the future of what your Mercedes might be able to do in the future. It can even remotely park into a space, and providing you've driven past it already, really spook people out. Now up next on the list are a couple of Mercedes Me services called Parking for Navigation, for the car's sat-nav, and Parking for App, which is for the app. And quite simply, there is a dedicated team, believe it or not, in Mercedes-Benz Germany that run these two services. Now, at the moment they search for car parks and show you some extra things, but there could potentially be some extra services and features coming in the near future. Mainly because I've seen that, I believe in Germany, you can actually pay for parking in the car, which is quite cool. Can you imagine that, going into a car park and then just paying for it on screen without having to fumble around with money and put it in the meter, put your reg in, and then also try and download an app for the actual car park. Imagine just doing it on your multimedia system. So that is a pretty cool thing, hopefully coming in the future. But as of right now, we've still got some cool features. So if I load up the Mercedes Me app here, on the bottom right, just tap on the car locator button and it will show you where you are. So here I am at Mercedes-Benz Pool, just here. So now what's very clever, if I tap the P, this will search for all the car parks nearby. Now of course I am quite zoomed in at the moment, so if I zoom out just to see the entirety of Pool, so I think that'll do, search in this area, and oh yeah, there are quite a few car parks here actually. Now apparently if you go into them you can actually see the prices. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so you can see the prices. If I tap on that one, it will show you all the information about it, how far away it is, and of course its opening times as well, all the different prices for the time you want to stay there. And yeah, even a website if you needed to contact them for anything. So yeah, loads of info on there, all the opening times, all the prices, and hopefully potentially in the future you might even be able to pay for it on there as well. Oh, and just before I go, be sure to check out some of the different symbols on the parking facilities on the screens. For example, the most intriguing one is the one that says there, see it says Marston Road, and then there's a bit of green and red there. This shows you how full that car park is. So this can be especially useful if you're driving around London, for example, or city centre, and you're looking for that car park. Obviously you want to stay clear of the red ones because they're quite full, but the green ones show more availability. Now hopefully this doesn't happen, but in the event the alarm is triggered in your car, some Mercedes-Benz can even pop up on the app giving you some crucial info, the time and date that it happened. And some Mercedes can even show you when collisions happen as well and the area that it happened, along with the time and date as well. Now, did you know for the final one, you can send an address from your Mercedes Me app to the car. So for example, if I wanted to navigate to Southampton, for example, kind of the closest city to where I am now, I'll tap on that button down there and then go to search for city and address, type in Southampton, and then tap on that one, it will find it on the map, and then you can do send to vehicle. Now if you have multiple Mercedes on your account, when you press this it will show you all the cars available, but I want to send it to that one because that one's just behind me. Tap send and that'll send it straight to the car. Now just in case this feature isn't working, there is a little quick workaround. Sometimes with an iOS update or a smartphone update on Android or something like that, it can remove that pairing. This is actually sent over Bluetooth and not through the Mercedes-Me cellular network. So in case it's not working, just unpair your phone and unpair it from the car and reconnect it back up, and then it'll work straight away just after that. So then guys, that concludes this week's video on the Mercedes-Me tips and tricks. However, do you have any suggestions? There's a message box in the comment section just below. Pop a message down there and I might just consider your suggestion. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to these guys, Sandown Mercedes-Benz, as they help provide access to all these awesome cars you see in the videos. So huge shout out to them. But until next week, see you then.